Hi guys, here we are with a new chapter, Newton's laws of motion. And this is a chapter which is a very interesting one as it contains minimum amount of theory and it contains loads of numericals which are very interesting numericals of mechanics. And for the complete physics, the most important topic is force. And to start Newton's laws of motion, we'll start with force. So what is force? Force is a push or a pull. You can see that this man is pushing the table, this man is pulling the table. So any push or a pull which is either changing the state of motion or state of rest, or it is tending to change the state of motion or state of rest, which means if he is trying to push the table, so either in any case, if table is being pushed or if the table is being not pushed by this man, the force is being applied by the man, and if the table is moving along the force direction of force, then also the force is being applied. And if the table is not moving in spite of being applied by the force, then also the force is being applied. The force in any case which is in which it is either moving the objects or it is tending to move the objects is called as force. And when this man is trying to pulling the table, then also if the table is moving or not moving, he is applying the force on the table. So it is not necessary that force must change the state of rest or motion. Force may or may not change the state of rest or motion. And in fact, we can also say like that force is a interaction between object and source. It means when a person applies some force on some object, then there is an interaction between that person and that object. That interaction is force. So unit of force is Newton, and Newton is kilogram meter per second square, and the CGS unit of force is gram centimeter per second square. It is CGS unit, and CGS system is centimeter, gram and seconds. MKS system is meter, kilogram and seconds. And in MKS system, kilogram meter per second square is referred as Newton, and in CGS system, gram centimeter per second square is referred as Dian. And 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power 5 Dians. So there is another unit of force which is mostly mentioned in questions, and most of the students are being annoyed and being confused by this unit. It is kilogram force. So kilogram force is the force with which Earth attracts 1 kilogram of any body towards its center. That force which Earth applies on any body of mass 1 kg pointing towards its center is known as 1 kgf, 1 kg force. Okay, so you can to calculate that 1 kg force, you can calculate the force which Earth is applying on 1 kilogram of mass, and you can divide that force with acceleration due to gravity at that place. So by doing this, you will get the value of 1 kgf. And as we all know, the dimensions of force are m1 l1 t minus 2. So now we come on the classification of force. So there is two type of basic classification of force, which is general classification and classification on the basis of contact. So in general classification, we can say that force is classified into 4 types. The one is gravitational force, second is electromagnetic, the third one is nuclear force, and the fourth one is weak force. And on the classification on the basis of contact, we can say that there are two types of forces, which is one is field force and other is contact force. I'll illustrate these all forces in further pages. So starting from the fundamental forces. So fundamental forces, all the forces like muscular force, the force which is developed in your muscles, tension force, reaction force, friction force, elastic force, weight, electric force, magnetic force, nuclear force, are classified on the basis of only four forces, and these are called as fundamental forces, which occur in nature fundamentally. It is not being produced by it is not being derived, in fact. So gravitation force is the force which acts between any two masses irrespective of their distance with each other, and this is also a force of interaction. So you might have heard in class 10th that gravitational force acting between any two masses will be g m1 m2 upon r square, and this is the vector form which I have mentioned here, and this is g m1 m2 r vector upon r cube. This is the vector form of gravitational force. So in scalar form, I can say that gravitational force F is equal to g m1 m2 upon r square in a scalar form. This formula only gives the magnitude of force, and this also provides the direction. So this g is universal gravitational constant, and the universal gravitational constant has a value of 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Okay, now gravitational force will be discussed in gravitation topic with extremely high details, but we are just summarizing it here, that it is a weakest force in the nature, and it is always attractive in nature. So, and it is a long range force. It means that irrespective of the distance, at any distance, if two bodies are situated, then this force will be acting between them. And it is also independent of the medium between those two bodies in which this force is acting, which means if any two masses are being placed in vacuum, then they are experiencing a force F, gravitational force F, let's suppose, and after that, if they are being kept in some water or some medium, then also the gravitational force acting between them at the same distance which they were at in the vacuum will be F only. So gravitational force is independent of the medium between the masses. And we also know that the Newton discovered the gravity by an incident of apple falling on his head, and if an apple is at a height of h from the Earth's surface, then the gravitational force which Earth will apply on the apple is given by F is equal to g me. Me is the mass of Earth, this m is mass of apple, and divided by re plus h whole square. R is radius of Earth and h is the height of apple at that instant from the Earth's surface. Now we further move on the electromagnetic forces, and electromagnetic forces, as their name suggests, are electric and magnetic forces. These forces are being observed in between the masses which have some charge on them. So we can say that electrical charge produces electromagnetic forces. So there are some main characteristics of electromagnetic forces. Like these can be attractive or repulsive, anything. Like we know that like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. These are long range forces. These forces can act between the charges which are kept at a longer distances also. And these forces depends on the nature of the medium between the charges. So we cannot say that the force acting between two charges kept in vacuum and the same two charges kept in water at the same distance will be same. Okay, so these forces depends on the medium. So the force acting, the electric force acting between those two charges which are kept in water will be different as compared to the electric force acting between similar those two charges kept in vacuum. And we can also say that all the forces, macroscopic forces except gravitation. Apart from gravitation, the forces like pushing force, pulling force, like friction force, normal reaction force, muscular force, or spring force are all the electromagnetic forces. This is very strange to hear, but it is true that friction force, pushing force, muscular force, spring force, and normal reaction force all are electromagnetic forces. Okay, and because these forces are produced due to the interaction of charges on the surfaces of the contact bodies. So, and nuclear force is something else, and nuclear force is always acting inside the nucleus, and this force is very necessary in binding up the nucleons. Nucleons is a common word which is referred for neutrons and protons combinedly, and despite of the larger electrostatic repulsions between the protons, nuclear forces keeps the nucleus binded. So protons are feeling repulsive electrostatic force, and hence they are trying to divide the nucleus, but despite of that repulsion also, nucleus is stably bounded due to these nuclear forces. The important thing about nuclear forces is the fact that they do not depend on the charges, which means neutron will experience the same force as is experienced by the proton inside the nucleus. And another important thing is also a fact that these forces are very short range forces, which means these forces acts only when the distance between the nucleons is very less. In fact, it is almost it should be about almost 10 to the power minus 15 to 10 to the power minus 18. Okay, so, and the other forces, weak forces, which is the interaction between any two elementary particles, and under the action of these weak force, a neutron can change into a proton emitting an electron, and that electron accompanied with a particle antineutrino. Okay, so the range of weak forces is very small. In fact, these are much smaller than the size of proton and neutron. So the size of proton is almost about 1 angstrom to 1 fermimeter. So these forces have a small short range forces, and these forces acts when the distance between that proton and neutron is very small, of about 1 fermimeter. Okay, so if we find out the ratio of nuclear force, electromagnetic force, weak force, and gravitation force, so we'll find that the most strongest force is nuclear force, and electromagnetic forces are 100 times smaller than nuclear force. And these weak forces are 10 to the power minus 7. In fact, we can say that 1 crore times smaller than that nuclear forces. And gravitation force is 10 to the power 38 times smaller than nuclear force. So you can compare these forces, you can compare the strength of these forces by this ratio. Now the classification of forces on the basis of contact is two classifications, which is one is field force and another one is contact force. Field force, as its name suggests, is acting due to the conservative force field, and this is the subject matter of class 12th. So we'll discuss these forces in class 12th with details, but in class 11th we'll discuss one of the field force, which is gravitational force. And gravitational force is you must have heard about gravitational field. So gravitational field is that area in which any mass will experience gravitational force. So gravitational force is not gravitational force does not require any contact. You can see that when anything which is in the air, mid of the air, is experiencing the gravitational force of Earth. In fact, that thing is not in contact with Earth, although it is experiencing the gravitational force of Earth, which means that gravitational force does not require any contact for acting. And electromagnetic force, like the force of attraction or repulsion between any two charges, is also a field force, because this force does not require any contact between these two charges. It is acting. You must have heard about magnetic fields and electric fields. So electromagnetic forces are acting due to these conservative force fields. This does not require any contact. Now a contact force is the force which acts due to the physical contact. Like if we are pushing something, so we need to touch that body to push it, and like if we are pulling something, we need to touch that body to pull it. And similarly, normal reactions are the contact forces. They require physical contact, and friction is a contact force. When we move on the earth, then we experience parallel contact force, which is friction. And when we move in the air, we does not experience any frictional force of earth, because we are not in the contact with earth, physical contact with earth. So conclusively, I can say that field forces does not require any physical contact, while contact forces requires a physical contact. Now the first contact force which we will discuss here is the normal reaction. So normal reaction, by definition, it is a perpendicular component of contact force which is applied by any surface on the other surface, provided that they both are in contact with each other. And strangely, normal reaction force is also electromagnetic force, as I've also told earlier. And that you can see that this table is being kept on earth, and its 4 legs, 1 2 3 4, are in contact with earth. So earth is applying the normal reaction on these 4 legs only, and these combinedly are balancing the weight of the table. This man is pushing the block, so this is a normal reaction force. This block is being kept on an inclined plane, so it is a normal reaction force. Here the term normal refers to the perpendicular nature of this force. Normal does not refer to the normal thing, so it refers to the perpendicular direction of this force. So normal reaction always acts in the perpendicular direction of the surfaces which are in contact to each other, and normal reaction is pushing force. It is not a pulling force, obviously, and normal reaction is electromagnetic force. Now, tension force. So when we pull a rope, then it develops a tension in it, and we also say that this is a taunted rope. Taunted rope is a stretched rope which has some tension in it. Tension force is also electromagnetic force, and it arises when some rope or some string is being pulled, and if that massless rope, see, we are assuming in these chapters that ropes are massless, but if stated the rope has some mass, then we have to consider that mass also. But until and unless they are it is stated, we assume that the ropes which are being used in the questions are massless, and massless ropes does not have any tension until and unless they are being pulled. Okay, now there is another common sense thing, that rope is always used in pulling the objects. It cannot push, you cannot push anything from the rope, obviously. So this is the diagram of a rope, that this is a rope which is a massless rope, and it is being pulled by a force F. So you can see that there is a small components of rope, and if you see any component, then the force F is being balanced by the tension in the rope acting on that component. So there is no mass of the rope, hence the tension in the complete rope will remain same. And if rope was having some mass, then tension in the complete rope will be different one, and this fact will be discussed in later videos also. So now we are coming on the frictional force. In fact, there is a separate complete chapter, friction, in upcoming chapters, and we'll discuss the friction in detail in those chapters. But let us have a look on the friction force, that how it acts. So it is I've already stated that the net contact force has two components. One is perpendicular to the contact surfaces, and other one is parallel to the contact surfaces. So the perpendicular component to the contact surfaces is called as normal reaction, and the parallel component to the contact surfaces is called as friction. So by definition, if we need to define the friction, then we can say that friction is a parallel component of net contact force acting between any two surfaces, and friction is parallel to the contact surfaces. Now normal reaction is also perpendicular to the contact surfaces. Now what is a system? System is a combination of two or more objects which are interacting with each other. So that these objects which are interacting with each other will be combinedly called as system. So how many types of systems are there? There are internal, like you can see how many types of forces in a system. So there are internal forces of a system which are acting inside the system among the components of the system. External forces which are acting on the system from outside the system. And I can illustrate this thing, that there is a box in which there are two balls which are kept like that. Okay, now this box is a system, and the force acting between these two balls is internal force, and if some boy applies a force F on this box from outside, then this is an external force, and the real force is the force which is acting on any object due to some other object. Okay, the real force is a force which is acting on any object due to other object. So if some body is isolated, which means it does not have any other body nearby it, then it cannot experience the real force, because real force is being acted by some other body on the object. Okay, so this is the system. Now with this video I've explained all the basics of forces, and in next video I'll come up with the Newton's laws of motions theoretically. Then we'll discuss the numericals which are being asked in this chapter. Thank you.